What's up, guys? Welcome back to the LG Studios here in New York City. You're watching the WCS America qualifying tournament for the Premier Division of Axel Toss, joined by Axlab, having a great time on Sunday. I hope you guys are having a good time too. It's been a long day, but it's been a very fun day. Of course, we have players trying to qualify for the Premier Division. Of course, we're getting a lot of people getting eliminated, a lot of people making it one step further, of course. This action will all continue throughout the week, so tune in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to find out who's going to qualify, who's going to get those 8 spots in that Premier Division.
There's still a couple spots that haven't all been fought over yet. Of course, when we're in the loser bracket match, there's 4 spots from the loser bracket that are advanced. Only one of these 2 players can get one of those spots.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into the game.
Yes. The game is going to be Hart versus Hendralisk. One of these 2 guys will be eliminated after this series, but this series can't finish until you get going with the first game. First game is going to be on Daybreak.
In the bottom left-hand location, we have the red Terran player from Team Axiom. He is Hart. Of course, Korean player. Very good at this game. I think, did he get second at an MLG? I'm going to go ahead and put my neck on the line and say he did.
Yes.
He has been around the scene for a very long time. A very solid, strong Korean player.
And that was an MLG. I remember watching him. He showed really insanely good Terran versus Protoss. And that was like a especially good matchup. Really good knowledge of where to move his units and positioning battles. His concaves are always perfect. It was a really impressive display of just classic strategy in that matchup.
Awesome to see him on Team Axiom, of course. Big shout out to Jenna Bain and Total Biscuit, the main individuals behind the team of Axiom. His opponent in the top right-hand location, it was announced today that he is now a member of Team Complexity. Of course, the karma on Reddit all snatched by Sasquatch. He always does that stuff. But this is the Blue Zerg player, now on Team Complexity. He is Hendralisk. It was originally rumored that he was going to join Root when Root came and said that they were going to have a new player acquisition. That ended up being Kane. And Hendralisk was a guy that everyone was like, this guy is, why is this guy teamless? He is really good. And showing how good he is in this tournament. We'll have to see how he does. Again, on Team Complexity now. Congratulations to him. Pretty awesome team.
So, the first test to see how really awesomely good Hendralisk is going to be the test of the Reaper. And that's very, in modern TVZ, this is a test almost every Zerg has to pass, the majority of the Zerg versus Terrans. Can you deal with this Reaper, right? And how much damage can you take? I mean, hopefully you're not going to lose the whole game, but if you lose too many drones, you'll be significantly behind going into the game. Oh, one drone!
Mine gas! Not able to mine gas in time. Will get taken out. Has he failed the test, Mr. Nicholas?
No.
Okay.
No, but he's, he hasn't aced it yet.
Okay.
If he doesn't lose a single unit again to the Reaper, then he'll ace it. But, I mean, that's unlikely, obviously.
Well, he just ran his weakest link away, or his weakest link.
Yeah, but now there's 2 Reapers.
Okay.
Looks like there's it's going to stop at 2, going on to use the barracks stand to build a reactor for the factory. And Hendralisk, yeah, so far so good. Save that Zergling. He's keeping the Zerglings behind the Queen.
Speed halfway done.
He wants to keep each Zergling life is more important now than it would have been, let's say, for the build Mia did last game, where he never gets Zergling speed, because Zerglings without speed are worth a lot less than a Zergling with speed. So if you're going to make that investment, you're going to sacrifice early drones, early minerals to go ahead and get that Zergling speed early, then you better keep those Zerglings alive until they get speed so you can really take advantage of it.
So units lost says 1 for Hendralisk at 50 resources.
I like it. I like it.
Now the follow-up here from Hart is going to be a 3rd command center. So it's not like we're seeing the fast starport, the fast armory here from Hart, going straight for that 3rd command center. Now it should be interesting to see, all right, does he add on 2 engineering bays? Does he add on 2nd gas? Where does he go from here? For now, just getting some Hellions. Of course, those are very important for the map control. We've been seeing some interesting compositions as far as Hellions and Reapers
One thing that's important to note is what we've seen before. A lot of times the Hellions and Reapers are aggressive in front of the Zerg's base, but because Hart saw the gas timing with that first Reaper, he's keeping his units back, which is exactly the smart thing to do until you get 4 Hellions. Once he has 4, then he can start going out and fighting speedings, but if you move out with only 2 Hellions and 2 Reapers, and your opponent has speed, they can easily surround that force and take it out.
Yep.
Now the decision is, should he push out? Now he's at a point where he can probably handle speedings, but if he sends his units out, he's vulnerable to counterattacks. So it's still a question. Flash is a big fan of using Hellions strictly on defensive duty, but most Terrans do tend to try to push them out a little bit more aggressively.
Of course, the idea being, all right, let's make some queens a little bit weak. Let's keep our opponent scared. Let's try to deny some creep spread. Let's pressure that third base. Let's take control of some watchtowers. Just map control in general. See what kind of speed leagues we can find and kill. But Hart for now, just sending a lone Reaper across the map. Going to keep those Hellions back home. Of course, you always have to be wary of potential counterattack. Starting off this supply depot wall at his natural expansion, adding on a couple Widowmines, and here comes that counterattack that we expected, but it looks like Hart is going to deal with that, no problem whatsoever.
Hendralisk saying, you can make a depot wall, I can make a wall too. Throws up a series of evolution chambers there, actually cancels the third one. Perhaps is worried about a Hellion run by earlier. But he's going to progress up to 1-1 upgrades for his melee units. So I would like the opening, very fast third base from Hendralisk. Getting those upgrades as well. Now getting a Baneling Nest before Lair. That's a little bit unusual.
Just wants to be extra safe,
yeah, I think
perhaps.
Maybe, yeah. I think he saw something that tuned him off a little bit when he went into the expansion of Hart.
All right, we're going to see that third command's going to lift over. But yeah, with the third, I mean, it's not like we're going to see anything very overly dramatic here from Hart, at least until a little bit further on in the game. We see Hendralisk working on 1-1, a little bit ahead of his opponent as far as the upgrades are concerned. Info tab shows 53 to 44 in favor of the Zerg player, but that third orbital about to drop down, and that will represent a lot of extra SCV production as well as additional mules.
Hendralisk has built a Spore Crawler, and he's kind of placed it between his natural and his third. I think the goal of that Spore Crawler is primarily because his lair attack is a little bit later than it might be in different circumstances. That Spore between his natural and third is going to be moving to wherever Widow Mines are at. Of course, there aren't any Widow Mines, but in case there were, it's more of like a preemptive type of idea.
All right, we see Hart making his way to the third base.
Where did that? Okay.
What's up?
Oh, no, never mind. I was saying, so now that he's noticed there's no Widow Mines, he's moved that Spore to the bottom of his third base to help defend that drop play. Which is a cool little, I like how reactive it is. He's doing moves to account for a variety of things that Terran could do, and then when he narrows those options down, he adjusts his play in very slight ways just to deal with what he actually sees. And now he's going to scout, try to harass his third base. He's already scouted with the Overlord. Unfortunately, the 2 Widow Mines
deal with the Lings fairly easy. We have some Lings trying to surround these Hellions, but I think he only sent about 10 of his Lings to deal with 6 Hellions. That's not going to be enough, but here come the reinforcements. So many Lings on the way here for Hendralisk. This is a Ling Baneling all in it. Gosh, his Baneling speed about to finish. He's going to make a lot of Banelings here.
Yeah, I think he wants to hit right when speed finishes. Of course, it's going to be
strange that 2-2 is starting now. So he just...
Yeah, it's going to be a later follow-up. I definitely think he wants to put on some aggression with just the 1-1. He's got a lot of extra gas as well, so maybe he'll switch to either Mutas or Infestors later down the road. Enough gas that it's not easy to spend that all on Banelings. More and more Banelings are being morphed.
Nothing but Lings in production too.
Yeah. This could be a very scary attack, though. It's really going to come down to the Widow Mines. Can Hart focus the correct clumps units with Widow Mines? Can Hendralisk force out... Oh, he's going to force out 1 explosion. That was
still
good.
4 more Widow Mines there.
I'd actually like to see him use
see how he controls this. Going to start splitting up the Lings, trying to get those Widow Mines to go off. And the Banelings, there's nothing to connect to those. Are going to bust into the supply depots, going right into the natural expansion, trying to track down those Marines, track down the SCVs, going straight to that mineral line. So many SCVs going to die here. Hendralisk getting so much damage, and still nothing but Lings in the production tab here from Hendralisk. Sending so many units across the field, trying to take down Hart, but I think Hart should be able to not die.
Yeah, he held for now.
I think
he did lose some SCVs, but there was a lot of Banelings being expended there as well. 13 SCVs. It's hard to tell because remember, Hendralisk didn't really fully drone up that third base.
Yeah.
He stayed on 4 guesses for quite a long time. He does have 2-2, substantially ahead of his opponent, but the Marines are moving out. The Banelings aren't ready yet. Oh, actually, some of them are.
One Baneling is going to roll.
That's going to be enough. But Widowmine, can he focus that down?
Trying to get the surround on the Marines.
A big Widowmine hit takes out 3 Banelings.
Oh, he's just going to lift up the vulnerable Marines into the Medivacs. More Widowmines getting important connections. And keep in mind, during all of this, the third base of Heart is mining away freely.
That's really the big story. 3 base Heart versus mostly 2.5 base Hendralisk. Now Hendralisk is really starting to saturate his third base. Those Banelings can't make up their mind. They don't know which way to go. They go both ways.
Wow. Decent connections.
Most of the SCVs escaped, though.
Yeah.
Heart putting forth a really great defense.
Hendralisk up 73, 77 now on the Harvester.
Yeah, behind us, he's really started to crank out drones. So now he's got a good economy, but the problem is he doesn't really have any units.
Yeah.
If he has a lot of larvae at his disposal, he can definitely crank out units with his economy.
1 larva, I think he has.
Okay.
So.
But he's got a bunch of Banelings on the field. He also has 2/2 upgrades, and Heart's only 1/1. So I think he'll be fine from any aggression coming out in the near future. Heart's also had to burn a lot of his medevac energy throughout those skirmishes, which is going to make it a little bit harder for Heart to do the sustained, continual push we see some Terran players doing.
Drop heading into the main base of Hendralisk. We got the medevac dropping. The 8 Marines, not much here to defend. The drone's going to have to run as fast as they can. Meanwhile, we have some aggression towards the 4th base of Hendralisk. The Banelings and Lings deciding, all right, do we need to go in there? Nope, not just yet. Widowmine's burrowing, keeping them safe. Marine drop is still doing a lot of damage.
Oh, if it gets a spawning pool.
The spawning pool is going to fall.
Oh, this is so bad for Hendralisk. This is right when he needs extra Zerglings. He's produced some. The 4th base is under heavy fire now as he goes to deflect that drop to the natural. He's trying to get some Ulis out. They're chasing a drop. They're going to clean that drop up, but the 4th is still down. There's Widowmines on the field. The Bioforce from Heart keeps going. I love how he unburrowed the Widowmines when the Broodlings popped out. So he wouldn't detonate on the Broodlings.
Yeah, 1 Widowmine is still there. Hendralisk trying to bait some Widowmine shots forward. Decent connection there, but Hendralisk's going to go for it right now. Lings, Banelings coming forward. Decent splitting here from Heart. Actually, great splitting from Heart. Trying to stay away from those Banelings, and he's going to be successful. And now he's going to converge his forces and launch the counterattack onto Hendralisk. He's up 138 to 91 in supply. Hendralisk desperately trying to stay alive, but it's 3-base Zerg versus 3-base Terran, and the Terran is being relentless with this aggression, heading straight for that 3rd base. There's the GG from Hendralisk. Heart takes victory in game number 1. Interesting decision there.
Losing that baiting nest was a really big, or sorry, spawning pool. Yeah, it was a really big blow to Hendralisk. He just couldn't replenish his Zerglings. He also might have, I don't know, he lost a lot of baitings on that aggression. He burnt away a lot of.
He was really trying to make that work.
It worked to some degree, but maybe just not quite enough. I don't know. It was very close.
There were a lot of points like during all that where he did have a lot of Lings in production, and he kept sending them across the field. So it's like it's one of those things where like, do you cautiously make that decision to decide, okay, I think I'm done with the Ling aggression. I'm going to go back into drone production. So maybe he delayed a little bit too long from doing that. It's just such a hard decision to make because you always have to weigh, okay, how much damage do I think these Lings are going to do? Is it worth getting these Lings out now to try to get some aggression done? Or should I make that larva into drones and then make those Lings a little bit later when my economy is a little bit better? So, hard decisions to make, but that means Hendralisk is going to be down 1-0. And we have Heart up 1-0 in this series. Heart is 1 win away from advancing to the next round of the bracket. Guys, stay tuned. This is a best of 3. Can Hendralisk come back and win 2 in a row, or will Heart close out the series with a 2-0? Stay tuned.